Welcome back everybody to Final Fantasy XIV Online with Mirriam Treespire. This is our quest by quest playthrough and we have just finished doing the battle leves of Swiftperch, or one of the battle leves. We just finished exploring them. So let's have a little quick chat with Swiftperch, because leves are one of the ways of leveling up your everything. So let's have a look. A lonely place, this Swiftperch. That don't mean there ain't work to be done. Alright, so we looked at our battlecraft labs, and we've done most of these. At the gates, jackal and livestock, tall odor, and fresh meat. We can, however, switch across to fieldcraft, and we discovered that there is no botanists, no fisher, and no mining. I know, what's wrong with me? Across to tradecraft, however. Okay, nothing for carpenter, that's Gridanian. Blacksmithing, armoring, goldsmithing, leatherworking, weaving, alchemical, and culinary. Now I'm finding that a little bit odd, and I'm trying to work out whether it's because my character... Let's have a quick look at our character, guys. Just zippity dart around, we get to see her pretty face, and go to see the character. Now I've covered her up again. Never mind. So we have attributes here. This is what she's currently dressed as a thaumaturge. Probably because she was doing thaumaturge things before we started doing other things. She is actually a marauder. But we're going to go to classes and jobs. So, the trick with Mirriam, the reason you haven't seen her advancing in her thaumaturge levels is I'm doing that off screen because you're seeing the thaumaturge advanced with Shale Firewisp, who started out in Uldar. You are also seeing that I have Lancer levels. That's because I am advancing the Lancer off screen with Mirriam, because we are doing it on screen with Herdana Swiftpaws, I believe. So those are my two classes from the other two characters. So we're running them parallel. We also have our Botanist and our Miner levels. So basically, Warrior is our main class. We'll just zippity-doo-dah into that. There we go. Look and swish. Lancer is coming up on 32 and Thaumaturge is on 18, which gives us a warrior class, a physical melee DPS class, and a ranged DPS class. Magical. Ranged. So, I'm trying to work out what I want to do next. So we're looking at leves. Any of these classes can do leves if they're a low enough level and match the area. This is a starting area, so you only have, I think it's level 10 leves. In our Disciples of the Hand and Disciples of the Land classes, however, we have Miner and Botanist, both at a fairly decent level, probably as much as they can go for where we are in the main storyline and the advancement. We don't have any Fisher levels. Now, Final Fantasy is complex, and I am of two minds. I'm of one mind to do what most people do, which is to push through on one main class all the way through the storyline and then come back and do all the bits. But because I'm doing that, like I started one character and we did all the things, and then I decided to focus on one thing, and now I'm coming to a point where I'm actually finding it really hard to do the other things because I haven't been leveling them up at the same time. I think the game might be designed for you to level most of the classes up if you're going to parallel, but I could be really wrong about that, and it does make for a very long playthrough. However, we want to look at leves, and leves utilize all of the classes. They utilize your Disciple of the Hand and Disciple of the Land classes, and they utilize your Disciple of War and Disciple of Magic classes. And as you can see, we're decidedly low on all of these. One of the things I worked out so far is that it's generally a good idea to have your Disciple of the Land classes high enough to help your Disciples of the Hand classes when they get to a point where they need materials. And that is exactly what we're going to do. You also need to have your Disciples of the Hand classes so that you can learn to desynthesize things which help you get materia and materials out of things, and also helps you to clear your backpack. Which reminds me, I've got these white dots here. White dots generally mean I can pull materia out of things. However, to do that, we need to have a quest. I believe the quest doesn't unlock until we have a Disciple of the Hand job of a high enough level to to actually desynthesize. So what we're going to do is we've worked out how to unlock leves, and that is going to help us level up our hand and land classes. What I'm going to do is unlock the last disciple of the land thing, and I'm going to bring it up to about 45, 50, somewhere in there. These will actually start to increase as we gather materials for our hand classes, so I'm not too worried about it. But let's go and do that in my minor class. I'm just zip. All right, so we're at level 28 gear for a level 45 minor. It's not too great. We haven't got any materia melded, and the reason for that is I don't have a class high enough. It also is I don't think I've progressed the main story quest far enough to have unlocked it, but I could be wrong. Okay, that will depend on if I have unlocked retainers. If I've done that, I've progressed the main story quest. Actually, I have progressed the main story quest first. So let us go. Looks like we're going back to Limsa, where we're going to begin our fishing quests. Okay, that's decided. And then we're going to do some Disciple of the Hand quest. We're probably going to bring our Disciples of the Hand up to level 30. And then I'm going to head back into... I'm really tempted just to bring all of the classes up to about level 30. We'll see. I'll decide a little bit later. So Mirriam, you've got some work ahead of you, don't you? Let's go. Back to Limsa. Where's my home port right now? Ulda. Yeah, we don't want to go back there. All right, let's zippity-doo-dah over to Limsa. Because we're going to be in Limsa for a little while, I'm actually going to change my my home teleport thing. My home etherite. Oh my gosh, I will get the words right, I promise. We're going to change our home etherite up to here. This is our Ethernet. No, we don't need the Ethernet. I'm daft. Set home point is what we want. Okay, now we want our Ethernet. We are going down to Fisherman's Guild. Oh, I am looking forward to this. All right, let's go. Okay, Mirriam, time to hop to it. Into our first Fisherman's quest for the last gathering class we need. Let us have a chat. Well, a well-wishing welcome to you, adventurer friend. You've worked your way to Fisherman's Bottom. When you won't fish for just a day, you can call a culinarian, but we fishermen feast for life. I've set the bait. Think you're ready to bite? Do you wish to join the Fisherman's Guild? Yes, I do. Hooray, hooray! Looks like we've got a live one. Let me walk you through the life of a fisherman in Limsa Lominsa. Since we're surrounded by the seas, the fishing sites are a fisherman's delight. If you can't fish it here, you can't fish it anywhere. While some of us rope our fishing with rods and reels, others skim the seabed with nets for creepy crawly critters. You might say we cast a wide net. People prattle about our pullers just about everywhere in Limsa. And there's much and more I haven't mentioned. We shepherd the ships, preside over the ports, manage the mongers, and all while making sure not to leave any adventurers out to sea. I'll wager you prefer to work alone, so we'll start you off with the rod and the reel. Now, you may not necessarily net the numbers net fishing yields, but pole fishing positively pulls prettier prizes. And that's the long and short of it. When you're ready for another bite of bait, I'll reel you in before the guildmaster. Right, well, we click on her again. I'd hate to hear you'd had a change of heart. You haven't, had you? I have not. Let us commence the way of the fisher. Spoken truly like a true bespoke fisherwoman. Well then, it's time you met the guildmaster. But unfortunately, and somewhat ironically, our nefarious netmaster is out fishing at the moment. This moment, and every moment, that is. But Sisyphus tends to tend to tasks that require tending to, such as deciding whether you'll sink or swim with our guild. Sisyphus presiding over those pools whenever you decidedly decide to say hello. She might seem somewhat standoffish, but she's only keeping an eye out for the sharks. Be yourself, and you have nothing to worry about. Thank you, Nana Mulika. All right, now there's a couple of important things about the Fisherman's Guild. It also unlocks ocean voyages, which you are going to want for events and quests. So let's have a quick chit-chat to Sisyphus. Yes, yes, save your breath. I heard every word between you and Nana Mulika, so I know she told you my role here. As she said, Wabbalago's supposed to be the guildmaster, but apparently he has bigger fish to fry, so all his work falls to me. This includes making sure our new fish aren't shellfish idiots or potential anemones. Oh, God. You've passed the first test by not laughing at that awful joke. Now you only need the right answer to this question. Are you prepared to fish like you've never fished before? I am. Well, you're smarter than the majority of bottom dwellers that find their way here. Welcome to the guild. Now, this wouldn't be much of a guild if we sent you out to sea with only a pole and a prayer, so I suppose I can spare you a few pearls of wisdom. Nevertheless, you're still going to need that pole and prayer, so I can at least provide you with the former. Here you go. 1 out of 2 isn't bad. I'll even throw in these lugworms, since you're not like to get far without bait. The rods we bestow upon our new fish are priceless objects, which is to say they don't cost anything. Once you know what you're doing, you'll probably want a proper one. But in the meantime, let's see if you can figure out how to hold your pole. Ready the one I gave you, and your lessons can begin. Well, well, well. Very saucy. Let's show this lady we can hold our pole. Fisher unlocked. Now I know that that concludes the thing. However, in order to be ready for the next quest, we're going to need to do a couple of things. So, readying your line. To fish, you must first change your class to Fisher by equipping a rod in your main hand. If the body of water you are near is fishable, the icon for the cast action will glow. It's this little fishing box thing. Determine a bait to apply to your line by selecting the bait action and then check marking the desired item from the list that appears. Some bait can only be used in certain locations or for landing certain types of fish. Bait and tackle can be harvested, made by disciples of the hand, or purchased from various merchants or fieldcraft vendors. Always make sure your inventory is stocked before heading out into the wild. And be aware that if you carry all the different kinds of baits you can possibly lay your little claws on, your inventory is going to be real full real fast. Of bait, not fish. Rightio. Let's equip this to Fisher and prep up for the next quest. This is how you do it. If you haven't already got this thing set up, this is also how you set this thing up. This is your quick gear change. Okay, we are going to go into our character, so hit C. I play keyboard and mouse. I play perfectly vanilla with this game, and actually pretty much every game unless I state otherwise, and I haven't found one that I've needed to yet. So this is how you play it, keyboard and mouse, and vanilla. Rightio. Okay, so you click on your tool. You see my miner, click on our tool, takes the tool away, and it brings up our armory chest. I'm going to whack my mining tool down here. I'm going to find my fishing rod. The other way is to get your fishing rod. Actually, it's going to be a pain in the neck. Let's move that over there. Okay, let's try again. Grab our weathered. Okay, pick up your tool, bring it down to your weathered fishing rod. Pick up your fishing rod. It automatically changes. Now, if you haven't got gathering gear on, it won't automatically dress you, so you're probably going to end up in your jimmy jammies, and you probably don't want to stay that way for very long. What we're going to do, however, is your gear set. We're going to add Fisher to gear set list. See how our class is now Fisher? Grab your gear set list. It pops up this little box over here. You'll see that there's a little plus sign at the top. Fisher is not on this list. So hit your little plus sign, because that's the class you've currently got equipped, and Fisher will appear at the bottom. Grab Fisher and drag it to wherever you want it. I actually like to have it over here. I like to have it in alphabetical order because I'm weird that way. So we have B for botanist, F for Fisher, and M for miner. But I've now got it here where I can quick change into it whenever I like. And speaking of changing, no one wants to remain nude forever. So I'm going to close my gear set list because I've already added the job to it. I am going to hit this little person up in the top box here, recommended gear, and you'll see that there are some things that we can wear. So let's get our character dressed. There we go. She probably feels a lot better, not so breezy. Now, before you log out of this part, you need to hit this update gear set button, because this will update all of this gear to this class. So whenever you click on this fast change button, you will be dressed. Otherwise, you'll have to get dressed every single time, and it's a pain in the neck. Right, but there we go. We have picked up our Fisher, unlocked our Fisher class. become a fisher, and added a fisher to our gear set list so that we can do quick changes, and we've equipped our character and updated our gear set. Now you'll notice over here that I am missing quite a few little items. I have nothing on my wrists, no second ring, no earrings. My gear is at level 1. We're going to have to go get some fish to make that any better, and that's what we're going to do next episode when we pick up our next Fisher's Quest. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit like. If you want to see more, please hit subscribe, and I will check you later.